I'm joined today by Tracy Walton, who wears many musical hats. He's a singer-songwriter, a bassist, a producer. Actually, he's a bassist who wrote a book on playing bass. He's a producer, an author, and a studio owner, and he's worked with so many musicians that we all know. And hello, Tracy. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Thanks for the nice introduction.
It's great to talk with you again. We've worked a couple times on the New Music Alliance. You are a guest DJ once, and we did
Absolutely.
a spotlight on deck recording studio.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that was good fun. And then we worked on the
Oh, and
the song
the
the song book as
yeah,
well.
the essential. You are our MC for the night, and
Yeah,
that was a great time.
absolutely.
Well, I want to start just giving you my overall impression of what I've learned through your music. It seems like you're proud to be a small hometown kind of guy. Is that fair to say?
Um, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I grew up in Northwest Connecticut. I'm proud of the area and proud to be I'm proud to be a small town guy. I think there's something cool about that. John Mellencamp style, I guess.
Yeah. And then you also had a song, They Say You Can Never Go Home, which is a great song and a great video. Do you long for those old days, but realize that they're not going to come back?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a hint of nostalgia in a lot of my writing, I think. And it's funny, like personally, I don't live in the past at all. Um, and I guess maybe that's what intrigues me about it in song is that I can for a minute live there. In my daily life, I'm very much a present moment kind of guy, and I try to live like in the moment where um there's certain people who or certain philosophies that say it's actually the only thing. There really isn't a past or a future. There's just this moment. And I'm sure there's people who could explain that more eloquently than me. But yeah, I try to live there and try to be in it. I think we all struggle with it more lately, myself included, with the advent of social media and all this stuff, where we're constantly bombarded with tech and everything else. And I try to, walk that line. Yeah. So back to that, I think in my songs, I do tend to have some nostalgia in there and enjoy that part of the process in writing.
The going back to the video for that song, it seems like it was a montage of photos from your musical career. Was it all about you, or I mean, was it all groups that you were in, or?
Um, I'd honestly probably have to watch the video again. It's been a while. I do remember it being a montage, and I remember some of the stuff being me. So that definitely plays.
Were you ever in a hair band?
Yeah, I mean, I was in a band with a lot of hair for sure. I was in some bands. I was right on the cusp of that where um I was in some bands that were, in that hair band thing. I just was never, I'd be in the dressing room and be like, listen, that Aquanet is not coming near me.
Yeah.
Um, this hair is not getting teased up. It was long and down to my belt buckle, but it was not getting teased or anything. So, yeah, I bordered that, but we were more the bands I was in back then were always I was always in original bands. I've never been really a cover guy. It never really interested me to kind of play covers. I got in it and started writing right away. Um, the bands I was in back then, we were always, and then it's funny, the band I'm in now, one of the bands called Growing Giants, is a bit of a throwback to the 70s ish rock. Where even then it feels like it's come full circle for me because even early 90s, even late 80s, I was playing 70s rock when everyone else was playing like, hair metal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was funny, like that the bands I was in back then kind of were already doing the Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, that kind of wave of what everyone called grunge, which in hindsight you look back and it's like it's just rock,
Yep.
Soundgarden's just coming from Sabbath and Zeppelin, put the two together and you get Soundgarden. Alice in Chains, all those bands were just doing that thing as we were. So, and as peers of them, we kind of landed in the same spot, so.
And who are you working with on that band?
It's a band called Growing Giants. We actually, I don't know when this comes out, but just today, and I shouldn't say that, we just did release a cover of Brain Damage from Pink Floyd, but really a remake. I've never been, like, even with that, I've never been one to like just do a cover. We did a version of Brain Damage, and the singer's really amazing, rock singer. We took the song up, what do we go up, a fifth, I guess. Right? Yeah, I think we brought it up to A. So, we brought the whole song up a fifth, which all of a sudden makes that song a real rock song. It's kind of a foot on the monitor belting, as if, say, Zeppelin did that song originally. So it's pretty cool. But that's a band, Growing Giants. We have one album out. We are doing some shows. Along with, I'm also doing my solo thing as always.
Yeah, you released a new song earlier this year, right? Better Man?
Yes. Yeah. That single came out. Christy Flagg sang on it. Dave Spinoza played guitar on it. Dave, I want to say famously, but maybe not famously, played guitar on so many of the 70s records. Dave is a Connecticut guy now. David Spinoza. You've heard him play on, American Pie. He plays guitar on that. He plays guitar on the first Paul Simon records. So that's him playing on Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard, for example.
Oh, wow.
He produced Paul McCartney's Ram, all these amazing records that you've heard. But he was one of those studio guys in the 70s that played on everything and kind of no one knew who he was. He's become a friend of the studio, and so I brought him in on that song, and he played some really, amazing guitar stuff.
That's great that you know so many people. You're good at networking with other musicians, and you can pull somebody in, whether it's for you or in your band or an artist you're working with that needs some help, right?
Yeah, I try to create a really like just good vibe here where people want to help each other make good records.
Mm-hmm.
I try to go above and beyond. I try to encourage people to go above and beyond. And what happens is you get people where, like, the Meadows brothers, the karma came back to them, where Dave played on their record, where they also, Dustin played harmonica on Riley Cotton's record. And, it kind of just all comes around when it's everyone's turn. Someone will step up and say, yeah, that's, I'm more than willing to help out on this record and to make it better.
It seems like Connecticut has a great community of artists that are willing to help each other.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's cool just to, again, like Leanne Lovelace sang on that latest Growing Giants thing. Of course, she shared it today, and a ton of people came to us through her. So it kind of helps everyone out, as they say, all ships rise.
Yeah.
With a rising tide. So it's it's a good thing in that way. And then being a studio, I also pay people to come here. So that's, that's a good thing too.
But you got to know who to go to.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
You-
Yeah. And I try to encourage people again to be kind, where, everyone's working within a specific budget, and, certainly, a guy like David Spinoza blows out a lot of budgets if he's doing what he would normally do in, say, Nashville or in New York. where, you know, he kind of gets the vibe here and, you know, does the thing. So
Very cool. So we're going to be seeing you soon at the Black Bear Americana Music Festival in Goshen, Connecticut. And this is not your first one. You've been there. This is probably their sixth event festival, right? Have you been there the whole
you know,
time?
I don't know. It's hard to say with, you know, with the world ending there for a bit, where we are year wise,
Yeah.
in terms of the fest. I know when it started, I was in Belle of the Fall, and we played it at least twice, maybe three times, and then post pandemic, I started playing that as a solo artist. Um, So, however many years it's been, I've been there for all of them in some form or another, whether it's I've played it solo, I've played it with my band, and I've played it with Belle of the Fall. So, and they've been, you know, it was one of those, and I think um, it's that same kind of vibe, where even, you know, Ian, who's one of the founders and a good friend of mine, is making a record here at this time, and we're kind of on hiatus because he's in the middle of planning this amazing festival. But the philosophy is kind of the same in that you want to find people who are, you know, and Ian actually says it, you want to find the givers, you know, who are in it for the good of everyone, and who come in and say like, hey, what can I do? And that was kind of um the attitude I took with Black Bear right from the get-go. It's like, it's right in my backyard.
Yep.
The studio is 15 minutes from the fairgrounds. I grew up, you know, 15 minutes in the other direction. Um, you know, my father, you know, was right next to there as a kid. It's like kind of certainly a local thing for me. So right off the bat, I was like, I'm in. Whatever you need, I'll. If you want me there 3 days, I'm there 3 days. If you want me there 2, whatever you need, I'm there. And let's, you know, make this thing into a really good thing. So generally, I'll go and play, and then I'll do some form of workshop or workshops. This year, I know I'm doing one on Sunday on making a record. You know, preparing to make a record. So yeah,
That's
I'm
another thing I
excited.
like about this festival is the workshops, and really helps because there's a lot of musicians there performing and in the audience that can really learn something.
Yeah, and I think it's cool. You know, yeah, for sure. And I think even for the non-musician, I think there's times I'll do workshops and it's like someone will be there and be like, no, I don't play anything. I'm not a musician. I've never made a record. I don't want to make a record. But they're like, this is really interesting. I've never knew this stuff.
Mm.
You know, Belle of the Fall used to do harmony workshops there.
Ah,
And people would be like, wow, that's really cool. I just never really kind of gave it any thought that that's like how two-part harmony is sung. Like we did a lot of Simon and Garfunkel type stuff and kind of broke that stuff down. So I think it's kind of cool for everyone. And I think, you know, even making records, it's most people have no concept, musicians included at times.
mm.
So yeah, it can be really nice to have those the workshops. There's yeah, it's kind of a family vibe, and it's an
Yeah.
amazing festival. It's one of, you know, I've played all over the country. I've played, you know, South by Southwest. I've played big festivals. You know, it's one of my favorite festivals, just period. It's a really well run. You know, the vibe is good the second you pull in.
Yep.
So, and I think it feels like, it's funny. I forget with the year, but I was standing with someone and they were like, man, it's such, I'm a little bummed. It maybe might have been the first year. They're like, I'm a little bummed. There's just not more people here. And I was like, honestly, I'm kind of into it that there's not, because at some point, this should be a festival where there's lines and you have to wait for things. And right
Yeah.
now, I'm cool with being able to get this sandwich like right away. I'm sure the organizers, you know, weren't as excited because,
Yeah.
you know, having been involved with festivals, you need people there. but it
But you're
already
right.
has, even first year, it had a really big festival feel. There were, whatever the numbers were that first year, maybe there were 500 people, let's say, which for a festival of that size isn't enough people, but there was 500 people with a jumbotron, and like, it was like, wow, this is like a big stage, and like full on production. Power Station Events in Connecticut goes so above and beyond, with all the stages and the lights. And again, it's just super well run. So it has the feel of a festival that at some point will have, 30,000 people there.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, it is well run, and there's multiple things going on at once. So if there's an artist that you're not vibing with, you can go off and do something else. And there's multiple stages for multiple acts, and definitely a great. I've been to many festivals, the large and small, and you're right. This is a really good one.
Yeah, for sure. There's like you were saying, there's a gazebo stage, there's a workshop stage, there's an acoustic stage, and the main stage. The
Mm.
main stage, acoustic stage are side by side, which is super cool. So if you want to park on the hill, you
Yeah.
can see bands back to back. You don't even have to move. But there's always a band going at the gazebo. There's something happening at the workshop stage. Um, yeah, and again, it's just, and part of it is, I think, with festivals generally, um, at least in my experience, are people. The people running it are kind of the festival, and they just have a really good group of people. Beth is amazing. Ian's, super great guy. Power Station, who's the other partner, is really good. Um, why did I space Evan? Who does all the graphic stuff? They're all just really good people. So you feel that their imprint is on the festival, and I think that shows up the second you walk through the gate.
And I think even the audience, they really seems like a community kind of vibe with the audience as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's, I think that's part of it. Most of the people that go are like, oh, Black Bear's the thing. And it just, and it does feel like, I mean, part of me feels like this is the year that it kind of really cracks. And it seems like they have the marketing get together this year. You're seeing a lot, or at least I'm seeing a lot more of it. There's people like Joan Osborne, who, I always say there's kind of, my test is like, would my dad know the act? And my sister and some random person at the gym. And they may not know the name, but the second I say, what if God was one of us? They say, oh, God, I remember her. That was a
Yep.
huge hit. Wow, cool. It just puts them in the game. And I think the more they start, getting those acts of that caliber, um, it's just going to keep snowballing into what's already a great festival, just more people there.
Absolutely. Well, taking up a lot of your time, would you like to play a quick game to round this off?
Absolutely. I think I would, yeah, as long as it's, yeah, as long as
I
it's a
think
game I want to play.
I think you're going to be good at this game.
Okay.
A lot of people don't get the answers right, but I think I have a good sense that you're going to get the right answer.
Oh boy,
It's
I'm
it's
nervous now.
called no, it's called Lyrical Ponderings. I'm
Ooh,
going to give
okay.
you a song title
Ooh.
that's in the form of a question, and then you can either tell me who sang the song or answer the question.
Huh. Okay. I'm ready to go, I think.
All right. Pick a number between 1 and 201.
164.
164. Okay.
It's going to be obscure song down the bottom, right? I should have picked one, the number one hit. Go ahead.
I thought you were going to get this. What's my name?
What's your name is Leonard Skinner. Well, what's my name?
What's your
Um,
name, little girl?
yeah. What's my name?
It's a modern song.
Oh, seeing moderns, I'm not as good in the modern world. I'm an analog man in a digital world. What's my is it Eminem?
No,
Oh,
it's Rihanna featuring Drake in 2010.
oh yeah, sorry. Yeah. I don't go very deep in Rihanna. Although I did like her Super Bowl show. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
I don't go that deep into her catalog.
It seems like all the young artists that I interview when I do this, they get the old songs from the 60s and 70s, but
Sure, sure. Yeah, no, I get the Rihanna. And I have a little bit of Rihanna game. I'm a little better with and part of it is I'm a little bit better with the indie stuff, the modern indie stuff because of my clientele. So bands like Boy Genius and that kind of stuff I am up to date on, but the Rihanna. I have Jeff Howard does a lot of work here. I let him take all the Rihanna and Adele and that kind of stuff. He's an expert in that. And I said, I'd talk to Jeff. He knows that stuff inside and out.
well, Tracy, thank you very much for spending some time with me and looking forward to seeing you at the Black Bear Americana Music Festival. It's going to be October 6th through the 8th. Are you going to be there all 3 days?
I'm performing the 6th. I'm playing on the acoustic stage, I think at 6 p.m. That's the same night Joan Osborne, I think, closes that night at around 8 or something. So I'm doing a workshop Sunday. So yeah, tell your friends these are the ones, if you're thinking about going, just go. If you hear my words as I'm talking, whatever device you're hearing this on, open a second window and go and just like grab tickets,
Yeah.
You won't regret it. You're going to have a good time and you're going to be like, wow, this was fun. I could have stayed home and done nothing like I normally do.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of that as well. So
Yeah, grab some friends and go because
yeah,
you're guaranteed a good time.
absolutely. And these are the ones you got, it's usually around this time that festivals are kind of make or break. So if you want to do your part and have this amazing festival, it's just about getting out there and putting your money where your mouth is and going to the show,
Yep. All right. Well, thanks very much, Tracy. Looking forward to seeing you.
Good stuff. Yeah. Talk to you soon.